This is a 1986 Porsche 911 Carrera, but it's pretty much what Porsche would imagine the Dakar to be if it was made about 47 years ago. So today, I'm going to review it and showing you guys everything that you know about this car, from the specs, the interior, and the exterior, and much, much more. Because I'm Xaaron, and you're watching Xaaron Reviews. So first thing first, we need to talk about the specs of this car, because, well, this car is powered by a 3.2-liter naturally aspirated flat six, which is mounted in the back that creates 207 horsepower and 196 pound-feet of torque. And all that power goes through a really cool looking Porsche 917 inspired shifter, which has 5 speeds on it. So a 5-speed manual transmission. So you have that 5-speed manual transmission, and it sends power via the rear wheels only, which is also seriously interesting. So it has power only through the rear wheels, which helps the car go from a 0 to 60 in 5.6 seconds, which is actually pretty good for this car. It only has 207 horsepower, but a 0 to 60 in 5.6 seconds, because there is, these days, a lot more cars with even 400 or 500 horsepower, and they still have a 0 to 60 in this range, which is actually quite interesting. So you have that 5.6 second 0 to 60 time, then you have a top speed of 155 miles an hour. Porsche claims it's 150, but tested it's went all the way up to 155 miles an hour. And while that isn't even the craziest part, because even though this thing has a full off-road build on it, check this out. You have a full front protector, you have crazy off-road tires, really cool off-road lights all around this car. It still gets a quarter mile in 4.4 seconds at 96 miles an hour. And that quarter mile is actually seriously good for this car, because, just to put it in perspective, well, a brand new Nissan Leaf, which has close to 300 horsepower and it's all electric, which means it gets instant acceleration, has a quarter mile in about 15.5 seconds. So even though this has way less power than a brand new Nissan Leaf, it's still faster in the 0 to 60 and quarter mile, which is really, really nice. So now I told you guys pretty much everything that you know about this car, at least performance spec wise. Now let's move on to the MPG and, well, the range of this car, because you'll actually be surprised by how good this car's range is. And first is, of course, the MPG, because you have 15 miles per gallon combined. Estimated, you should get about 11 to 12 city, and then probably around to 17 miles per gallon highway. And that equals 370 miles of range just driving in the city, and then 440 miles of range on the highway. So combined, that's about 390 to 400 miles of range, which is actually seriously good for this car. Most supercars are known for being not that really efficient and not have that really good of range, but this car has both. It's powerful, it's fast, it looks nice, and it has really, really good range in MPG. So now we check this car out, at least performance and everyday spec wise. Now let's start checking out the design, the interior and the exterior of this car. And first thing first that you guys will probably notice is this. Well, it isn't a regular 911. It's way different, because not only does it have this massive protector on this front, which looks really, really nice, and it's actual metal, you also have this really, really nice front light bar there, which is a nice long strip light there. You have underbody protection, which is also made of complete metal, that comes all the way to right here on the body of the car. And the reason why they have that is, so let's say you're off-roading in this 911, up rocks, something like that. Well, then if you hit the front of the car on a high rock or something, it won't smash the front bumper in, it'll just hit into this protector right there. So that is a really nice feature to have. Then some original features, or more original, you have this aftermarket headlight here with one massive bulb in the center there, which is really nice. And if you guys are wondering why I could find out that it's aftermarket, is this, because regular Porsche 911 headlights come out to here. You guys see this little strip around here? It's just flat and comes out to about right here, but this one is almost like bulb shaped, so that's one of the easiest ways to tell that it's not an original 911 bulb. So that is also quite nice. You have the more powerful headlights, which are newer. You also have your Porsche logo here, which is actually different looking than the original or new Porsche logo, because the new Porsche logo, the horse looks completely different, and it doesn't have also like dot trim all over it. But yeah, so you have that the original actual Porsche badge before they more kind of updated and modernized it. So that is another nice little feature to have. Then you also have this, which I've never seen on a 911 before. It's like a kind of plasticky trim on the front, maybe to protect it from flying rocks and stuff like that. But that is another interesting feature right there. So now I showed you guys pretty much all of the front of this car. I need to tell you guys one thing that you guys might not have noticed, but is one of the most hidden iconic features on the Porsche 911, because literally every single Porsche 911 has this, even if you guys haven't noticed. Because check this out, you have these two lines that lead into a little air intake right here, right? And, well, pretty much every Porsche 911 has it, even new ones, but Porsche doesn't really make it as viewable as before, because check this out, the Porsche 911 ST has the exact same air intake. Okay, so here it is. You see, it's not as functional as before. It's not an actual proper air intake now, but you still see these little indents in the car that kind of feed air across the top of the car and into the rear wing. So you still have a nice little iconic feature that's an old car had. And even, well, high-performance Porsches like the Porsche 911 GT2 RS Base 935 has it. So let me show you guys now. As you guys can see, it's way more subtle, but it still has a slight resemblance to it, as you guys could see. So Porsche has stayed true to their little Easter egg heritage, because as you guys can see, you still have those little strips. Even though they might not be as important as they used to be, you still have that iconic little feature. So that is one thing that you guys might not have noticed about the Porsche 911 that literally every 911 ever made has. But yeah, so that definitely is quite nice. You also have your tiny little fuel filler cap here, and actually, look at how little it is. Like, these days, literally, companies like BMW and Mercedes are making fuel filler caps that are, like, bigger than my hand. But, like, these ones used to be just tiny. So, yeah, you have the old school little tiny fuel filler cap there. You have some stickers on there, maybe from the past rallying history that this car had. And now, let's move on to the side of this car over here, because I want to show you guys, well, one of the coolest features about this car that's been updated, because now you have these really nice off-road tires, which are crazy good. So you have these nice open country AT tires here. Oh, so these are actually, yeah, Toyo tires. So you have these really nice off-road tires. You have Spanish-made, nice little gold trim rims, and I actually like how the rims are the same color as this bumper here, so kind of color matching. But yeah, that's definitely quite nice. You have your 5-bolt setup there, and then your sturdy metal tires here. And I like how it's actual proper metal, not plastic or anything like that, just proper good old metal. So that is also a nice little feature. Then I want to show you guys this, which is kind of hidden, but is interesting, because you have these nice little blinker lights here. Then you also have this, and you guys might not know what this really is for. It just kind of holds the bumper in place. But one way to tell between the regular 911 Carrera like this and a 911 Turbo is this kind of goes downwards. It kind of forms into the bumper, which is going to be lower and larger. So that's one of the easiest ways to tell between the 911 Turbo and the 911 Carrera, because truthfully, they look kind of the same. They both had the whale tail. I mean, the only way you could really tell the difference was that piece for the bumper, and then also the rear was a little wider. So that is a nice little feature to also look out for. And actually, you guys can see, this looks like it was cut away maybe here to make space for the bigger tire. So yeah, you could definitely tell that tire is a good deal larger than the original. And yeah, so then you also have your nice little that picks up your radio and stuff like that there. You have nice little square mirror here, which actually looks like it might block out, like this piece right here might block view of the mirror in the passenger seat. I'll show you guys that when we check out the interior. We'll see if that's what happens, but it definitely kind of looks like it. But yeah, you have that nice little mirror there. I'm a huge fan of these door handles as well, because instead of just pressing a button or something, you have to kind of squeeze it to pop it open, like, oh. Okay, I guess it doesn't close all the way, but yeah, so that is also quite nice. And then, of course, you have your nice little back seats there. And then we come to the side of this car, and yeah, you guys see this really nice roof rack here carrying your extra tire up here that's nicely strapped down. And actually, check this out. So you guys might not have known why on the Volkswagen Beetle and Porsche 911, they both have this kind of seam running across them. Actually, a lot of old school cars had them. A lot of old school Fiat 500s like that. And the reason why was because instead of having the roof racks that a lot of new cars have, they just had this seam coming across that you could attach stuff to just exactly like a roof rack. So that was a nice little feature that old school cars had. That was kind of like a invisible roof rack, which is definitely quite nice. And so yeah, you have that nice roof rack there. Then you come to the back of this car, and yeah, it's definitely been modified, as you guys can tell, because one, you have these really nice big new mud flaps there, and two, you have completely new rear lights. These are not original on the Porsche 911. No 911 has ever had these except for the roof TR8, I believe it's called, but that is pretty much its own company, because Roof actually uses Porsches, but they're actually identify as their own company. So the Porsches that Roof uses identify as Roofs, not Porsches, even though they're based on Porsches, which is interesting. But hey, these nice little Roof style circular rear lights there with an interesting honeycomb design inside of them. Check that out. You can't really see it from the outside, but you have an interesting little honeycomb design right there, which is also quite nice, and you guys could see that it kind of forms back into this other rear little light right there. And yeah, just one other interesting thing and cool thing in my opinion about the Porsche 911 is that there is a lot of cars that have been around for as long as the 911, like the Chevy Corvette, Ford Mustang, and like Chevy Suburban and some other cars, but none of them really retain their original look. Like the Porsche 911 has pretty much stayed the same all these years. Like, just look, you have this beautiful flow that slowly curves down into these really nice bug-eye headlights on the front, and pretty much every other Porsche has ever had it. Because if you come here to this nice 911 GT3 or ST, it has the same slopey design, which then ends at this really nice bug-eye headlights. Even though they are a little more integrated into the car now, it's still pretty much the same. The only Porsche 911 that pretty much doesn't have that is this, because it was based on the Porsche 911 GT2 RS. I actually did a full review of this car, but this was based on the GT2 RS, and originally it had regular headlights, but Porsche pretty much just took the frame of a GT2 RS and then kind of melded it down into this Porsche 935 inspired, the original 1970s Porsche 935 inspired headlights, which also are just like the Porsche 963. So that is another interesting little fact there. Then come over here, y'all, because let's keep checking out the design of this car, because another thing you guys might notice is this. Check this out. So the windshield is actually not completely flat. I'm not sure why, but it's not completely flat with the body. It's kind of sticking down a little bit, and then you have this extra little runoff piece here. Pretty much every old 911 had that. I believe it's just a styling design, because you have those little like holes going through there, but I'm not completely sure. Comment down below if you guys know what that is, but it's definitely quite interesting. Then also you would come here and you have this nice little stoplight here as well, which of course is quite nice. You also have this big rear spoiler here, which is almost identical to the Porsche 911 Turbo, the 930 Turbo whale tail, but it's a little smaller. Like the whale tail to 930 Turbo whale tail, which you guys could actually see right there. Well, that wing was almost to here. It's like almost over the rear bumper of the car, but this one is pretty much in line with the rear bumper, and it's just slightly smaller to be able to distinguish from the 911 Turbo and the Carrera. But yeah, you have that nice wing there. It smoothly flows across here, and as you guys can see, you guys could actually see this is the shape of the airplane wing, and it's pretty much reversed to create downforce. That is a nice little feature there that you could actually see the shape. A lot of new cars have these winglets that kind of block the shape out, but it's nice how you have the actual shape flowing across there. And then you also have air intakes up here as well, which feed air straight into that good old 3.2 liter flat six. And you guys could actually kind of glimpse the engine a little bit from this air intake here. It's kind of hard to see it, but there's just a slight glimpse of that air intake or that engine through the air intakes. Then you also have nice Carrera badging right here as well, and then Porsche across the back. And one thing that I noticed is that Hyundai claims that they created the rear strip light, the light that comes across all the way rear, and it's just red all the way across, just like this. But interestingly enough, this Porsche 911, as you guys are seeing right now, had this way before Honda and Hyundai were even around, because Hyundai was built, the original Hyundai was around 1990s, they were actually created, and this Porsche 911 is from the 1980s, the early 1980s, so Porsche is the actual company that first created the rear strip rear lights, so that is another interesting fact. Then, you also have the nice protector right there, bumper protector. You have this really nice little guard under there, the underbody metal guard there, which is nicely bolted on there, and then you could see the two exhausts sticking out from both sides of the car there, which is also really nice. And actually, you could see here the original 911 had this, so if you guys can look, there's little strips in the back of the car, and that pulled air out of the engine, and yeah, it was a nice little feature that they had, but it's pretty much blocked out by these underbody protectors here, but that was another nice little feature there. So, now I checked out pretty much all of this really cool exterior and talked about the specs of this car. Now let's hop inside and check it out to see if it's just as good. Okay, so now let's start check out the interior of this car. And first thing first, I want to talk about the seats, because there's really nice Recaro seats here. Nice, like, fabric-y Alcantara type trim here, which hold in place. Really nice, yeah. It's definitely quite comfy, and yeah, definitely really sporty, especially if you're going to be doing, like, racing or anything like that. So, yeah, this great, actually quite comfortable seats, more comfortable than I expect for a racing style seat. But, yeah, you have those really nice Recaro seats there with 4-point seat belts, which is definitely a really nice feature. You have your nice circular cutout metal handles there, and that's your regular door opener. Actually, just like a Porsche 911 GT3, which is really nice. You also have your window switches there. Nice view out of the side window here. And now I want to talk about the center dashboard area, because it is really nice. You have this, actually that's not soft, it's just hard leather looking material, but you have this nice material here, which is of course quite nice. And one of the biggest differences you guys might notice between this car and, let's say, a newer 992 or 992.2 Porsche 911 is, well, this, a new 911 or any new car has a big center console to rest your arm on, right? Well, these old cars didn't. It's just open space. And since this car is so much thinner, almost like, I believe, a foot thinner than the new 992.2 Porsche 911, well, there's not really any space to put an armrest anyways, unless it would be as thin as, like, this little gear right there. But yeah, so you have this nice open area here with your little button there. You have your parking brake there, which is quite nice, and then your 5-speed manual transmission right there, which is also quite nice, with the Porsche 917 and Carrera GT inspired shifter knob, which is definitely really cool. And actually, footroom in this car is quite nice. I'm kind of laying back and my feet just start touching, so you have a good amount of footroom just regularly sitting like this. I have great amount of footroom, great amount of knee room, and actually, interestingly enough as well, is that this whole dashboard type area, it's really low. It's not like high up as a lot of new cars would be, but it's really low. And as you guys could see, you have your nice glove compartment there with a little locking area. You have more of that nice like leathery type material here, which is nice and tan. You have different switches to maybe turn off, like maybe cut off the engine or something like that, and you have those different cutoff switches there. You also have your windshield heater. You have your bright lights, or maybe those are fog lights, because they have that little line which is supposed to signify fog. Doesn't really make sense, but yeah, you have the nice little thing there. You also have a little thing there, which you guys will probably know what that is. But anyways, then of course you guys see those things. You also have this interesting little button here, and a lot of this stuff isn't labeled because this car has been modified a good deal compared to the regular 911, but you have those nice buttons there. You also have your fasten seatbelt and brake mode, so when your seatbelt's unfastened, then that light's going to turn on, let's say, when you're driving, so that is definitely also quite nice. Then you also have, of course, your AC settings with those nice little gauges. You have defrost, different settings there for defrosting right there, which is also quite nice. You have these tiny little AC, like most new cars these days, they'll have like AC vents everywhere, here, on the roof, everywhere. But this car has two tiny little AC vents, which yeah, it's definitely quite nice, but still not the greatest, just because if you're in hot weather, it's not going to cool you down much if you only have tiny little vents there. But it's funny how much different new cars are, even just the amount of vents they have compared to these older cars. But yeah, that's still a nice little feature to have, just having an AC there. And it used to be, I believe, an option on older cars. Just having an AC was an option, interestingly enough. But yeah, so now we check that out. Then you also have your nice mirror here, which is not actually connected to the roof. It's just connected to the windshield, which is interesting. It almost looks like it's floating from this angle. That is actually quite nice. You also have your little sun blocker here with your nice little mirror there as well, which actually doesn't close or doesn't have a light because it's more manual, but it's still nice to have that little, I believe it's called a vanity mirror there, which is a nice little feature. And then before we talk about a little more about this area here with the RPM and everything like that, I wonder what this is, because you have this interesting little circle piece right there, which I highly doubt is for opening the windows or something, or actually it might be, but yeah, you have that interesting type of piece there. Nice leather trim on the doors, and I really like this burgundy, I believe, colored mat all over the interior of this car. And so now I told you guys about that, I also want to show you guys this, because you have this nice little square mirrors here, which actually work quite nice, even though this is my view right here. This little plastic piece which separates the movable mirror from the non-movable mirror actually kind of blocks the way. Interesting. It almost like blocks the center of it, strangely enough, but still, it's nice to have that little mirror right there. Then also you could see over here you have stuff like your clock, you have your speed. Oh yeah, that's in miles per hour, and the smaller ones are kilometers an hour, so not that far off the real speed you can go. You also have your RPM there, you have your temperature and droop press. Interesting. Comment down below what that is. And then oil. Oh, what the? Okay, anyways, that's interesting. Then you also have more oil, your oil percentage, and in your tank. So that is definitely quite interesting. You have your nice Momo steering wheel there as well with your 12 o'clock piece there. And yeah, then also you have this lightweight little brake and acceleration pedals there, which is also quite a nice little feature. And you could actually see the metal that was helped for the structure. It's kind of has these holes in them, and the reason why is to save weight, and also because it makes it look better, I guess. So that is also a nice little feature to have. And you also have the sunroof here as well. And actually, interestingly enough, on earlier Porsche 911s, like this generation and slightly later generations like 993, having a sunroof was a regular thing. If you didn't have a sunroof, that was actually special, and those cars without sunroofs these days are actually worth more. So that is also quite interesting. Where rear seats would be, you have those folded down pieces with a nice little GoPro mount, and then a nice little roll cage right there. So that is also definitely quite nice. And so now we checked out pretty much all of this interior. Let me just show you one more thing, which is this nice little reading light here, and that is it. So now that we checked out pretty much all of this really cool interior, now let's hop out and near the end of this video. Okay, so now that we checked out all of this car, from the specs, design, the interior, and the exterior, well, I need to rate this thing. And overall, I'd say this is a really cool car, not just because it has this really nice off-road trim, I guess you could say, also because, well, overall, the 911 is probably one of the most iconic cars in car history, really, because not only does it retain its original shape even today, it still just looks so iconic. Even when the old 911 was around, it still looked as iconic as the new one. So now I'm gonna rate this thing. I'd rate it 9.5. Good 9.5. Overall, I'd say seriously good car. And yeah, so I hope you guys liked this video. Remember to like and subscribe and comment down below what your favorite car is, and I'll see you guys in the next video.